Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another match in the Super Metroid Randomizer tournament for Speedgaming Live 2023. I am Ark, and I'm joined by Idle today on commentary. How you doing today, Idle?
Doing good. Looking forward to this one. Really, these matches, anything could happen. These runners are both very experienced, and Osse has been doing a ton of work on the map render side, but still is able to show up and snag the #1 seed for this tournament. So obviously, skilled rando player, and mm2's no slouch himself. I was just thinking back to the last mm2's race with Nevdi, where it's just a little thing like where the runners chose to save that made a difference. Just not having a good save to reset to. It's just you don't know what's going to be the difference. It makes these fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And there we go. Switch to the race layout here. Sorry, I was just making sure everything was set up and we got audio approved, so we're good to go now. It's going to be a gosh, let me change it. Why is mm2's one sec, I'm working on the cropping here.
No worries. It's just the part of the game we've all seen before. The first question doesn't really change much. Same fall down from the ship. There's no random start in this tournament. It's all the same settings. Major, minor, area, full area, and boss rando. That means more falls either going to be here where it normally is, or it'll be in the ceiling. But the runners will be going to the ceiling regardless. We don't have to do any fancy taco tanks to get that ceiling item. They'll be the planet wakes up a little bit earlier than it does in the vanilla games, so it makes it so you get that second item. And runners are also going to be picking up their first miners, really hoping for power bombs here this early. That way we can. It looks like m2 has found miners, so power bombs. So Osse will be picking those up too. You can think of criteria almost like 3 different areas. If you've got speed booster, you can kind of connect the top left to the top right without too much time lost between the two. But this bottom portal is really isolated, and so you really want to check this portal if you can. And in fact, it's so isolated that a lot of times you want to follow this portal too, if it's reasonable to do so. You're not going to follow it in upper Norfair, and of course, if you get a lower Norfair or an East Spreadia, we just we don't have any suits. We're not going to be doing those things. But if it's a red tower or if it's green, the runners will follow that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big reason why you would want to follow this, if it's at all possible, even if you might be missing something like a super missile, is just because going back up retro, up climb, up parlor is incredibly slow. Being able to skip all that, it saves so much time. And unfortunately, this is not a portal that they can follow. But it might make Bubble Mountain easier in the future because they won't have to try and pair this portal with the wave beam, which can take quite a bit of health.
Yeah, exactly. The runners didn't even lose time there, because that's one of the longer ones to check. It's about as long as it took to get over here from the criteria side, so it's just good knowledge to have. And even if it were technically possible to make that hell run through, you just wouldn't want to. You can't really check it. You can't get even majors once you get over there. What are you going to do? Just go to another portal and be a huge risk.
Absolutely. And mm2 here is checking the old Mother Brain ammo check instead of keeping that power bomb. I think generally runners kind of agree that this is probably a slightly better use of that power bomb than heading left from criteria with just your last remaining power bomb, mainly because there's so many portals you're going to find over there where having 0 power bombs is incredibly bad. And sometimes even having a save when heading that way is pretty good. So a lot of runners would rather check that ammo than use that power bomb there and just take a ship refill.
Yeah, absolutely. If you find something friendly like the bottom of Green Bryn, that's actually a bad place to be if you have no bombs. You really want to be at full bombs going into there, or have a second power bomb pack, and you're just not guaranteed to get one. It's only like a 1 in 6 chance of every particular miner having a powerbomb pack, so could potentially go a while without getting one.
And an E-tank at bomb Terizo. That's hard to complain about energy tanks early in this mode. They're very useful as a substitute for that various suit if it ends up being buried, and anything that might speed up a potential Bubble Mountain hell run is generally really good. Another thing about energy tanks in this mode that I think is very good is, since it is area, you don't actually know what's gonna happen next, right? Like, you don't know where your portals are gonna lead. So even just having extra health or picking up an energy tank for a heal can be very beneficial, so that you're kind of prepared for whatever happens.
We can see there Osse actually got an extra powerbomb drop somewhere, a low probability one, and still chose to just use it to knock you Alcatraz and come here to the ship to get that refill.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the runners, if they find like a West Meridia here, they might be a little more free to fall down and check out the other portals there.
Yeah, it really depends on the energy. With 2 tanks here, you might be willing to reset an energy tank here at Terminator. In that case, if you find a West Meridia there. So that save is just generally pretty nice. I think saves in this mode can be very powerful, but they need to kind of be executed at the right time. I think if you're saving everywhere in case you get to use it, you lose out on a lot of their value just because you're wasting so much time saving everywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, there aren't too many saves that don't require you to just go into an extra save room. You know, there's like,
yeah,
and there's not too many other ones that are on the way.
And so that is the Croc portal. And what's interesting about that is, with 3 energy tanks, the Upper Norfair portals are in logic. So the Chronic Boost portal, the last remaining Upper Norfair portal that is a business center, is actually in logic as a place that is currently accessible with their equipment. None of the items at Bubble Mountain are currently considered accessible by the logic, however.
Oh, you can't get any of them with 3?
No. In Varia, Speed Booster requires 4. Unless you have Speed Booster, then it's 2. In Chozo, Speed Booster only requires 3 in Chozo, but it's only lower there just because it's very likely you're going to end up finding a couple energy tanks in the ammo pool in Chozo anyway. And it's kind of how the Chozo mode works.
Yeah.
And chat pointing out, there's a good chance that MM2 might be doing this because he expects Osse to be doing it, and Osse's not doing it. It's also possible that MM2 thinks this is not a bad play here. 3 tank Bubble Mountain can get really dicey if you're not finding energy tanks here, but at the same time, you kind of don't want to be finding energy tanks here because you want items. It wouldn't surprise me to see him just go directly to the portal at this point, because that is the only thing technically in logic here, or maybe making the assumption that Gauntlet has an energy tank to put this in logic.
The other option wasn't too much better. Osse having to go all this way just to check this one portal. Can check the other one too if he does the CWJ. Great here. I'm guessing Osse didn't take another save, so he would...
I thought he might have saved the ship. I thought I saw him refill.
Did he do another refill?
I believe so. Yeah, it looks like he did. And he's just gonna do the ammo check on the way out if the boss isn't defeatable with his equipment.
Me, if he didn't reset into the ship, isn't losing out on that one tank isn't that bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible. So that is another aspect of this mode. The bosses are shuffled into Stragon. And so that's interesting from MM2. So MM2 didn't check the ammo check before Speed Booster, and so it is possible to get the ammo and the major and get back in 3 tanks. You need really good arm pumping. And you need to make sure that you kill the bugs immediately. If you skip the ammo check, getting back in 3 isn't terrible. But my guess is, it sounds like you probably didn't farm to full and just wanted to check if it was an E-tank, and if it was an E-tank, continue with the rest of Bubble Mountain, and otherwise go to this portal right here.
Yeah, because even if he had farmed to full and made it out with that screw attack, he would have had to farm a lot just to get back up to full again.
Yeah, exactly.
The save is closer to the portal.
Especially with the health that you have. And it's also so much easier going in this direction, I swear. The Magdalite room is awful the other way. So resetting back, I wouldn't be surprised to see MM2 do a rolling save back to the ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
So this is where you want to go at this point.
Yeah. So a staple of area, it's kind of a soft lock prevention thing in a way, but you have rolling saves in that it will save your last 3 saves into the file. So his save he made at the ship was in file 3, and he could just reset back to it.
Oh, this could be required, this fall through West Meridia. And honestly, what can the runners do that's in logic that isn't this fall through?
Mm-hmm. And MS2 electing to leave this boss here and not check it.
He did at least check the portal then, right? He has knowledge.
Yep, he does have the portal information.
Okay.
Checking crate is weird. I think I default to checking it too often without really putting much thought into it. If it's in an accessible spot, you absolutely can put it off. The biggest thing you're scared of by not checking it is that it's well, if it's Kraid, there's 2 items you're missing out on, and if it's Phantoon, you really don't want to find the wrecked ship and find out Phantoon was at Kraid. So it's one of those really weird ones where the value it can be skewed in one way or the other, but if it's in an accessible location, the long form, the long tail time loss isn't necessarily that bad to leave it.
That variance you're talking about is one of the things I don't like about Boss Rando. It creates a lot of interesting situations, like being able to be in go mode faster because you can do a gravity jump out of in the precious room and stuff like that. But then there are all these situations where it also makes the lower Norfair hill runs more likely. But on the flip side, it creates these huge variance points where, if that had been Kraid, Osse is potentially significantly ahead right now, but it's straight out ahead as a result. The runners are almost synced. I guess it's working out for us viewers in this situation. Have the runners be close together.
Yeah, I think on one hand it does add some interesting. You have to kind of weigh the options if you want to check the boss there, but at the same time, yeah, if it creates a very large amount of variance, then it can get a little frustrating to have checked it and kind of just lost that coin flip, so to speak. It's not a true coin flip, I think, in the sense that not that it's not 50-50 to have a beatable boss, but in the sense that the upsides of checking it versus not checking it aren't necessarily equal. So the EV is not necessarily equal in the decisions in every situation.
Alright, finally finding some movement item here, so the spring ball. We haven't found a whole lot. Got that wave beat too. For once, we're getting wave beam before we go to wave gate.
It's always fun. It's fun watching rando mains play Hundo and just kill all the enemies in that room and go back to do the super trick and realize they have wave beam.
Oh yeah, Osse ran out of power bombs. I think MM2 is going to have the same problem. Going to have to come in here and farm at least one. You get a whole bunch more at the bottom here.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where because in Osse's case it kind of makes sense in that checking. I guess you reset back to you used a power bomb to get through landing site faster. The math wasn't working out in my brain. I was like, you want 3 coming in to not have to refill there, or sorry, you want 4 coming in to not have to refill there, and I was like, moat, they should have been fine, but no. 3 is fine though, because it's just 1 room over. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. It would be nice to find out a power bomb pack though.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 power bombs is always. It can always be a little suspect in certain locations, but at the same time, low power bombs like this can also be a place where you can kind of set yourself apart if you're like being cognizant of your power bomb count in situations and realizing that many of the portals that might be on your path soon turn out into a place where you want power bombs, so you like preemptively farm just in case kind of thing.
Is Osse already skipping missiles? Which I guess this seed has been so... Sometimes when you have so many missiles that you run into, you start thinking, well, I'm just going to have to find charge. But you still kind of want to load up on ammo early, because even if you get to 60 missiles and 20 supers, that's still good for if you run into Ridley potentially.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have skipped that missile back, but I understand.
Yeah, like the hard part about skipping missiles, especially one that's in the same room that you're already in, right, is like, if you're in a situation later where the ammo you need to beat Mother Brain doesn't all just end up on path for you, you're gonna remember that and feel really bad that you're not having to check a very slow ammo check. That's most likely just going to be a missile anyway to make up for that missile you ended up skipping.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I get it, but on the other hand, this early, it seems a little like, it has a high likelihood to work out, but I think the downside is much larger than like the upfront like 7 seconds that it takes to do it right now.
Yeah. Here's Croc. So choosing to skip it. They've already found green bread, but at the same time, they don't really have good stuff for Croc. Got enough ammo, but I don't like doing Croc when I don't have really good movement items and get the other.
Yeah. My guess is Osse wanted to at least see what this portal was before doing Croc. In the sense that, like, if it's exactly this business center, you would rather have business center done before Croc, right? And
yeah,
there's one item that you're going to find here, probably two, I guess, with Speed Booster. Speed Booster or Varia you're going to find here that will possibly lead you away from that Croc. And even if you find Varia, you might not go away from that Croc either. Just because having to go through Cathedral isn't the fastest thing in the world to get to Bubble Mountain.
Well, you're going to feel better about doing Croc when you've already checked like both Green Bryn and Business Center. And potentially
absolutely.
He's doing. You might see Osse also do this phaser check before Croc.
Yeah.
There's a lot of delay, but...
absolutely. Like, for instance, if Osse finds a suit here too, there's a much higher likelihood of just doing one item a Croc and leaving. Because if you find a suit here, you have more outs necessarily, whereas, if you're missing both suits, it gets harder to kind of justify in some ways in your mind, unless you're someone that just kind of on instinct skips Croc.
And Croc is not in some faraway portal land either. This is... You
could definitely come back, but unfortunately there's no like portal right next to it that's all that good until maybe a speed booster is found. But with like the knowledge of what the rest of the Upper Norfair portals are either, this is a little out of the way, like just with the way everything's kind of shaping up.
It's just a reserve and an energy tank for Business Center. And unfortunately, Plasma doesn't really help with Croc because you don't have charge.
Yeah, but Wave Plasma is a very nice beam to have, even without charge beam. It's the most fun. You just kind of one-shot everything, and you don't freeze it.
It's very tempting to start playing for charge here, but it's probably still a bad idea. Charge could still be a check tool or Plasma or some other terrible location.
Yeah, that's kind of the hard part about like playing straight up for charge, because you're kind of pricing yourself into, if it's in a bad spot, I kind of just straight up lose instead of more of like a hedging your bets kind of thing, especially in a situation where without the Varia suit, you still want a decent amount of supers in case you find a Ridley or you're doing a Varia-less Lower Norfair, and you need that ammunition for crystal flashes later.
Yeah, you're already going to be checking miners for both supers and power bombs, so kind of your point earlier, like if you're... I remember when I was first learning Rando, you'd see people like look at the item and be like, "Oh, don't get it, it's a missile pack," and that mentality is not really the best. Like, if you're checking the item, you might as well just pick it up.
Yeah, just mainly I think because you're already there, and then I think, and you could argue that like if you do this enough times, you're wasting a lot of time, but like an upfront cost of 7-ish seconds versus like the long tail effects that could come from skipping that ammo check in the event that you don't find charge, kind of weights me personally in favor of just picking up any missile I can find if I'm already like in that same room and I don't need to do any extra door transitions to go and get the missile since I'm already there.
I mean, you could literally save 7 seconds now and waste 7 minutes later when you can't do that boss that you because you're just short of ammo or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the super count, it's not too big of a deal here. And it looks like Osse is doing the second item.
Is that the reserve over there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that the 4th reserve or is that? No, it's not. It's the 2nd reserve, I think.
I think
no,
so.
Third. It was Ice, Edecoons, and first item of Croc.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Sounds right.
I'm guessing we'll see MM2 do this Croc as well.
If you're practicing lockdown with mom, do it later.
So MM2 just a little bit behind Osse right now, but still a lot of time left.
Yeah, he's got that Spazer check out of the way. Went to the left to get it, so like a little bit extra room traversal. And also that Turian knowledge right now could prove pretty big if this is a seed where you don't get back to Bubble Mountain. If the game kind of leads you away.
The Turian knowledge might be more important than that creative location knowledge. If it gets to a point where it's only Dragon and you can't escape from, then Osse's boss knowledge could be pretty big, but you can just find gravity and then that boss knowledge is not nearly as important.
Yeah, it still is nice in the sense that like if you're in a situation where you don't have a way through the Batuan hallway, you know that Dragon is there. And you could, do a couple of potentially do some extra skips, or when you run into a situation where, for instance, you've not found East Meridia yet, but your portal knowledge is showing you that you're close to finding it. Since you know that the Dragon is there, you instead of checking new portals, you actually could go for a little backtrack to pick up that Dragon, because you know you're going to be finding East Meridia soon, so that you're prepared for it. In general, however, usually finding of bosses you can find that you cannot beat, usually Ridley is slightly more powerful knowledge than Dragon.
It's like MM2 thought 4 tanks was a little bit too much health, better drain down to just 1. Get that last view now.
Yep, and that's also nice.
The X-ray, I think it would be a logic. Normally runners, some of the runners would get X-ray.
The logic for the health logic for X-ray with like health and bombs or like health and ice beam is not something I'm super privy to, because especially at this stage of the tournament, most runners are just gonna, I have 2 E-tanks, cool, I can get it.
Yep.
I don't really care about the logic for it, but I would imagine this is enough.
Gotcha.
The reserve tanks.
I was joking on the 1 tank. Now we're down to just reserves. I'm pretty sure it's never more than 6 tanks for any of the logic checks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So with the bombs, runners could be expected to bomb jump up to this.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be kind of awful.
And there's an ice beam, which makes the Dragon knowledge a little worse. It is still nice to have, though, before you have a way out of the boss room.
It still feels good to get something out of this, too, though. Because, sometimes when you make this long X-ray check, your opponent might just skip it.
Yeah, and it
always
kind of
feels... You're getting that time back already, just in the Metroid Randomizer.
Yeah, and it always you know, when you skip this and it's an or when you do this and it's an E-tank, you don't necessarily feel terrible about it until that Varia suit shows up and you're like, well. And you still might feel terrible about skipping it if enough E-tanks show up that, you know, you have more than you need for a Varialist slower Norfair situation.
Okay. Very close.
I missed that portal.
It was front of East.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I would imagine MM2 is going to be doing X-ray here, especially with those bombs. If it's in his mind that the bombs puts it in logic.
Yeah.
And yep.
Yeah, this could very easily be suit. And I think the runners are just maybe a high jump away from it being potentially a pontoon gravity.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. Yep, snail climbing is in logic. So this is interesting for Osse here. The health situation, the ammo. Okay, so with only 25 supers, the Ridley here isn't trivial, even if he's full, especially while completely suitless without like a screw attack, for instance. 25 missile or 25 super 30 missile Ridley is a lot trickier than just 30 super missiles, especially with having to use a few to get there. If he finds another super pack, this is doable, but you know, ideally he'd want to be full health coming into here. Anyway.
And as you mentioned, having like 35 supers because you have to burn like 2 or 3 just to get to the boss.
Yep, absolutely.
It's, what is it, slightly more than 1 in 3 chance that it's Ridley here because we already know that he can't be Dragon.
Yeah, something like that. I think it ends up being a 1 in. It might be slightly less. You might be right. It might be slightly less, but
because like we can't in boss rando you cannot have all 4 bosses be at home, so it takes one of those 24 possibilities out of the pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I'll be around to help later with that too. Okay.
Let's see here. Did Osse save? I would imagine so.
Yeah, he saved at the ship.
And it's just a Fantoon here. Finding Fantoon here is always weird. However, in this case, with how much both of our runners have done, I don't think they're going to mind finding a Fantoon here.
Yeah.
But like in a situation where you find the front of wreck ship early and you decide to check the boss, finding a Fantoon here never feels good because you kind of run into this like catch-22 of like the major checks in wreck ship are some of the longest ones. Right super isn't too bad. If you're going out the back anyway, wreck ship E isn't terrible, but if you're not going out the back, and in this case, going out the back isn't in logic, our runners still might do it with this equipment. It's definitely possible to be done with this equipment. But if not going out the back, then wreck ship E is a very long check. And then of course, bowling's incredibly long, and there's 2 items there, and they can't even get the second item. So, you know, if you find this early, you kind of don't want to... You're kind of in a weird spot because it's like, I don't want to be checking this stuff with, you know, a bunch of stuff outstanding, but since it's kind of so late with how little they have left to check, it's kind of just dis and upper Norfair at the moment. Logically, you don't really mind finding the Fantoon here. In fact, you feel probably pretty good about it just because it makes it a little bit less likely that, you know, Bubble Mountain just kind of has an item that you're really hoping for, and you're further away from it.
MM2 is hoping to find Slaughter's refill there. Unfortunately, it's just the back of his Heredia.
Yeah, and having skipped the crate boss, that might... Oh gosh, that makes checking this... I think with how, you know, you're up Red Tower, I think you kind of have to.
Yeah, Crate's Slayer is so far away from this location. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. And MM2 is going to probably be sweating a little bit until he gets into the boss, both because his health is bad, and also just because the Cray boss is outstanding, and if it's Fantoon, he could be put in a pretty bad spot here.
Fortunately, I don't think MM2 has blown his reserves since saving its ship. They should have at least one full reserve tank. Two? I don't know if he found two.
I think he farmed leaving Croc to fill the reserves, I believe.
That could be possible.
Yeah, there's at least one that's full, though.
Because this is not a free... I mean, we didn't talk about the Osse's Fantoon fight because he had like 3+ E-tanks and reserves and everything. Like, it's fine.
Yep.
Well, that's a good find for Osse.
Yeah, that's a nice gravity suit to have.
But M2's fight is not free here. He's one hit away from earning those reserves. And then, you know, he only ends up having 100. I mean, hopefully he did fill his reserves some. He might need them. Sometimes, you know, if you get like a left fast with Fantoon, I find it really easy to take 2 hits like right away.
Yeah, it definitely is possible to just take 2 hits right away on that left fast with the way the flame pattern goes. It's one of those flame patterns that you actually can't shoot out every single flame with 1 beam shot. It requires 2, which makes it kind of annoying. You get less drops and you have a higher chance of getting hit.
Okay, farming a little bit of health there. I like that.
Mm-hmm. So with that gravity suit, I think Osse would like to go out the back to get to West Meridia more quickly, but he is missing the elevator portal in Red Bryn, which makes this a little bit more attractive to do. And then also, East Meridia is also here that he can just do.
Yeah, why?
Did he check? I guess he's grabbing the ammo here before checking that portal.
Yeah, because I don't remember him checking that portal either.
I don't either. But there is a doable East Meridia here. Osse's in a situation now, especially with that super missile, that a Fantoon is, or a Ridley's not going to be something to be all that scared of. I mean, obviously there's still a large chance of death without that various suit, but it's a lot less scary with the amount of energy that he has and having 30 supers already.
Number 2, dip into those reserves, which could also be important because of these rooms. Although having 200 reserves helps M2 not at all, I think, for this spiky room. I think there was an E-tank on the way though. I think he's going to get that E-tank first. Should be okay.
Yeah, I think MM2 knows the entire map at this point. Osse's still missing Turian, and I'm surprised. Okay, yeah, I think he's looking for the front, and he's laughing now. Yeah, with that front there, it kind of doesn't make much sense to be going through the back at this point.
It's kind of an interesting situation for Osse because he knows that if he could, so he could go kill Dragon first, and then let's do Pontoon. But East Meridia is right here. Like if you leave it now, you have to like go way out of your way to get back here. So you kind of have to do this now.
Yeah, kinda.
He should be able to beat the boss even if it's Ridley. And like
yeah, absolutely.
Might find one more super pack too. So.
And for Osse, this is going to be perfect boss knowledge after this boss is defeated. Which means that, you know, he'll know if he maybe wants to be looking for Varia or how much equipment he's going to need. With only 5 power bombs, you're still kind of not thinking about suitless LN yet, because you need 2 more power bomb packs, and power bomb is the rarest form of ammo to find. Getting a grapple beam and left sandpit.
I tend to put off the sandpit check. Probably just go into Botchwin first, but this works too. There's a decent chance I'll be back here at some point.
Yeah, I always feel weird about left sandpit because it never feels good to check unless you're going out the back anyway.
Right. Yeah. If it's on your way, go absolutely do it.
Yeah, it just always feels like a weird one. It's one of those that I guess I probably don't.
200 damage here. Has to be careful.
Yeah, the Kazans deal a lot of damage completely suitless, but rather, you know, it's one of those ones that's I honestly don't know exactly how long it takes off the top of my head, but it feels like it's nearby, and then every time I do it, I'm like, this is really far away. As MM2 picks up the gravity suit.
Runner's taking advantage of that lack of high jump, just being able to run and jump over to that. I think that's technically possible with high jump, but it's really stupid.
Yes, it's not trivial. There's a reason that in Hundo people do a bomb jump with the high jump boots. Being able to run and jump that with the high jump boots is very much not trivial, and falling down there without the gravity suit wastes a lot of time. So yeah, here's MM2 going out the back. With this East Meridia location though, and knowing both portals are in Red Tower, this is much less attractive here. Just because that East Meridia is kind of far away.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he's doing this, knowing that he's kind of orphaning East Meridia. Nice one round between. I thought that was a 1 round fight from Osse. It looked pretty cool.
I mean, there's a chance his thinking is he can pick up the East Meridia at the end, and then take Business Center to get to Turian, but that's kind of relying on getting like a speed booster, because going through Cathedral is pretty slow.
He might also be thinking, I don't want to check all the majors in East Meridia, and so, you know, if you go there, how many majors are you checking before you abandon it?
Yeah, and there's also, at the same time, he wants to consolidate that Kraid location, especially because if that Kraid location was a big item, like a Varia suit or something like that, because it was like vanilla Kraid or something, then that's really big to have as well, in case thinking maybe his opponent might have checked that boss. But that also kind of gets a little bit into the metagaming aspect of it, which I don't know if players are thinking like that while they play. And that's the 4th reserve. And a nice super find for Osse.
How much does MM2 want that reserve? Is he already thinking about Lasella in here?
Okay, and it's Ridley in East Meridia, so Osse can very confidently, well, once he gets 15 power bombs, can very confidently do a very Lasella in this situation, I believe, with this loadout. The Plaza Beam helps a ton. And the Spring Ball helps conserve power bombs. The bombs helps conserve power bombs. It makes a 15 power bomb Lower Norfair much nicer to have Spring Ball and bombs.
Fight from Osse. Fortunately, has that gravity suit. Did take a couple hits from Ridley, but didn't hurt too much with their gravity suit.
Mm-hmm.
This cannot be Varia.
Nope, but high jump boots are nice.
Yeah. That's a good find. Once you're going for this gravity jump, I think it's fairly precise.
Yes, it is not an easy gravity jump. Oftentimes you're going to have to wall jump out of a pause there, unless you do it perfectly. And even then. And so he's going for the back, this other version of the gravity jump. This version of the gravity jump, I believe, is 2 frames. You have to jump on one of the last 2 frames before the pause removes your control of Samus, which, you know, if you have some good practice at the other one, is a little bit less consistent.
Yeah, and that must have been last frame jump, because he didn't even need to down grab it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looks like I'm surprised because it's the crate area. You have a health refill there, I guess. Maybe it's forgetting that there's the health refill there.
Oh right, you just walk into that room. And MM2's also full on supers. Or I guess was he just farming supers?
That's possible, but there's also mini crate here.
Yeah, because you could get health from mini crate if you're full on supers.
Yeah. Oh, there's a power bomb for Osse. That's pretty good. That helps a lot.
runners do have bombs, so it's not like super important, but it's definitely helpful.
Absolutely.
And if the runners want to do a varioless LN, then it's really helpful. It just depends on whether they go for that or not.
Yeah, and also something to point out, MM2 has complete map knowledge, Osse does not. Osse needs to check the chronic boost portal for complete map knowledge, because if the chronic boost portal connects to West Meridia, or check the West Meridia portal rather, either works, but if those two portals, from Osse's perspective, could connect and put a Turian at the back of Lower Norfair as well. And front to back, with high jump boots actually helps so much with the front to back varioless Lower Norfair for sure. Without it, it's a little hard without at least a space jump or something. Spring ball does help too, but it's never fun to have to do an uncommon worst room in the game while taking heat damage.
Where Very is, of course, where the suits are, it's always going to be different.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're behind Dragon, that's huge. If it's behind Craig's Closet, then that could be huge the other way.
I don't think it can be behind the Craig Closet. Craig looks to be in Lower Norfair, so.
Oh, yeah, we do know that now. Yep, it will not be behind Craig's Closet then.
Yeah, the big thing here is there's so many places for that variant to be still. And there's an X-ray scope that saves a power bomb in Lower Norfair on the way out. So now, if MM2, that's true, they do a spring ball. You're right. I'm sad. I was hoping that would be MM2's way to do Lower Norfair on 5 power bombs on the way out. Oh, bombs too.
Yeah, they're okay. They can't be crystal flashing, so we kind of want various safe core. It doesn't need tanks, but. Although, I mean, we know the back of Lower Norfair is accessible now, so it's maybe the crystal flash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And there's also something of note. MM2 is down in E-Tank compared to Osse. I mean, Osse's up because Osse's checked other stuff that's E-Tanks, but MM2 reset an E-Tank at the beginning of the seed as well. So if MM2 is going to be going between a West Meridia and an Upper Norfair, that's a quick little tank to just grab if he's feeling you might want one more for the varioless Lower Norfair play.
So I understand what Osse's doing here. Gonna check. Osse hasn't checked any of these back on those items, and even if he finds all tanks, that's potentially good for him.
Yep. We do know that Screw is at speed because MM2 did check that at the beginning, and that's also a nice Lower Norfair item. The Plasma Beam makes it a little less valuable, but it is still very, very nice to just become a death ball when you're taking heat damage and don't want to take enemy damage. Okay, yeah. So MM2 is now having to route back in the East Meridia and is going to be going this way to get there. Yeah, this red tower's weird. Yeah, it's top of Green Bryn or Business Center is really the only way in. Through Wreck Ship, top of Green Bryn or Business Center, because both East Meridia loops the Red Bryn and then the 6th portal there is Croc.
Does at least get to skip Botfoon, but it still doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, it's super not accessible. Gosh.
Oh yeah, chat pointing out that despite skipping those whistle packs, Osse has built up some ammo and
yeah, Bubble Mountain seems to be just full of super.
Now gets another one too. Yeah, I think he did that end of game ammo because we're bringing ammo.
Yeah, absolutely. And Screw Attack is nice to find.
So we just had the wave location here. If you could find if there's a power bomb pack on the way to wave though, I think Osse might just reset.
Yeah, I mean, this is plenty to do a Lore for the grapple makes farming easier as well. You have bombs, so you don't have to like multi-purpose a power bomb for one of your crystal flashes. At 15 power bombs without bombs, and he's skipping the wave beam check entirely.
Oh wow! I was wondering why he wasn't saving because it seemed to me a little bit.
Not even going to the portal, or is gonna take a health refill and go to the portal this way.
So he's
Possibly
Lower Norfair right now, right? This could, from his perspective, this could be Lower Norfair.
Yes, this could be the back. From Osse's perspective, this is either the back of Lower Norfair, Turian, or the pre-aqueduct in West Meridia. Yeah, it's interesting to skip on 15 power bombs. It seems like it's probably pretty good, unless Very is obviously exactly there. On 10 power bombs, it could get a little spicy here. It's possible that instead, what he's planning on doing... Oh, never mind. I had a weird thought that he was planning on possibly, if that's Turian, taking Remembered Highway to check Wave Beam and then going up Meme Route to grab that Dragon.
Oh man, I would not recommend that. That's deceptively expensive on your... Well, I guess he's got gravity, so that helps a little bit, but...
Yeah, and he's got quite a bit of energy, and then...
It takes a lot of energy, though.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt it.
He's gonna go to Plasma now.
Look, he took a save in Business Center, right? Like, the problem is he can't get out of here unless this is... Oh, he's Plasma. I'm silly. He has Plasma.
Oh, like,
I'm silly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and it's very astute.
Gosh. You know, the funny thing is, I'm not even sure that puts him up to ahead.
I think it really depends on where that last power bomb pack is for Osse. Lower Norfair is faster though, and you don't have to Crystal Flash and worry about your health, like deceptively faster.
True. But I mean, Osse has pretty much everything you'd want except Speed Booster for doing a back-to-back LN.
And a 15th power bomb pack. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
It really depends on where that power bomb shows up.
And there's a bunch of minor checks on like right at the beginning of whatever too.
Yeah.
I actually expect that there'll be one there.
It's not unlikely, but it is a heck of a thing to gamble. I mean, if Firefleet and Kraid are E, then he's perfectly fine in this situation. If one of them isn't, he's going to have to set up a 10 power bomb Crystal Flash, which is possible. Because I did something similar to what you're describing and didn't find a power bomb at some point, and it didn't work out very well for me. But if you have a strategy to set up a 10 power bomb Crystal Flash, you should only need one of them to show up an E-Tank in this scenario for it to not be terribly slow.
I think that even if you were trying to do a 10 power bomb strategy, you're so limited because you want to use power bombs a few times throughout the back of Lower Norfair, so you kind of It's a problem too. So I think if you're doing it, you're just playing for I'm not going to need it Crystal Flash. Although it is a problem if Kraid, you have to do something with Kraid. How do you feel there?
Yeah. So a big thing is though coming from the back, with bombs too. Even you could use only one Key Hunter stairs and then one. You could use 3 of them on the way down, right? Because you bomb the 2 in Wasteland. And you can get those 3 on the way to the boss down there, that Kraid. And if an E-Tank doesn't pop, then you can just use the Viola as it circles the platform. It's silly, but it is possible. And if there's someone who has a I think Bob has something for that, but if there's anyone else who has some sort of setup for that, it's Osse, so...
Nice double one jump from Osse.
I wonder if that's faster than just grab jumping. And with high jump, possibly.
Oh, I'm sure that was faster. But actually, it's harder though. I should give you full props because starting your bomb jump from a high jump is.
Yes, in that room specifically, I think most any percent players actually have a visual cue where they use the wall in the screen scroll to lay that power bomb, because it's not very trivial to start a bomb jump out of a jump with high jump. Honestly, it's a really weird timing.
Yeah. M2 has that high jump as well now. Osse's got ice and M2 doesn't. Did we see ice? Oh, he's got ice. We just don't have it on the tracker.
Yep. And a big thing to note, though, that the Very Suit does help with is that MM2 will be able to back to front Lower Norfair to end closer to Turian.
Yeah, so that could play into it too.
Although, is that even that much faster?
I don't think it's like a huge difference, but I want to say it's a little faster.
Because, well, you don't have speed, right? So you're taking Cathedral. I actually think back-to-back just ends up faster. Because you have to go through Cathedral, and going out the front is slow. It's 2 extra elevators to go out the front, right? Because there's the LN elevator and the Business Center elevator.
Yeah. And slow in general to get to the front, but still though, when you come off the back, you're in West Meridia, and then where are you going from there to get to? I guess you're going to Criteria.
Yeah. Yep. You would just go out gravel into Criteria. Yep. Okay. Come out Croc Portal.
Yeah. It wouldn't actually be that much difference then.
Yeah, I actually think it's probably still faster to go out the back than the front.
And M2 reminding us, he doesn't quite have the ammo either. So even though he's got very M2, why are you jumping over that power bomb back?
He doesn't need it. He's got bombs, spring ball.
Yes, I guess he's got Varia. I would just take it.
I have never seen this wall jump before from Osse. Well, that's awesome tech. I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I've seen the other wall jump before, but I don't know if I've seen that. I've probably seen
that one's definitely that one's definitely a high jump boots required tech there, but it's certainly better than a grab jump if you get it pretty quick.
And yeah, definitely looking for those power bombs. That's the only reason he's over here.
Yeah, like it's you never want to have to go watering hole, especially at 65-60.
Yeah, this is a little ridiculous. He skipped like what 3 missile packs, so he's checked.
Oh, there's one.
All right, finally. I wonder if he even skips those supers. Do you need them? Let's get them. I don't know we need them.
Probably not, but
they are right
7.
there.
You know, if 7 seconds decides this rando race at this point, then
sure, yeah.
You know, then you can blame him. And M2 doing from the front. I think this actually makes some sense for MM2 here to do it front to back, because West Meridia is just really far away. So yeah, the Very Suit also just really helps. I think MM2 needed it to show up a lot more than Osse, just because he was so far away from West Meridia to be able to do a Lower Norfair back to back.
He also has worse tank situation too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure that it would be reasonable for M2 to do it without 15 power bombs. Whereas like Osse could. Really, this 15 power bomb pack is for when Kraid has nothing.
Yeah. Or if Firefoot doesn't have a tank. Like, if it's double E-tank down here, you might not even need a Crystal Flash for this Lower Norfair. If you play it really well.
Yeah, especially since that would give you even more tanks for the return trip, too.
Yeah, okay, so skipping the tank. This might honestly even be enough to get to Kraid without even picking up that energy tank. With 3 reserves.
Yeah. But I think save hasn't saved in who knows how long. So I think that's a good save.
Okay, so worst room in the game. High jump is a worst room in the game item, but high jump only is actually really awkward because you don't have that speed booster to lay the power bomb high enough to just do that PRKD strat. So you know, worst room in the game on just high jump is actually kind of awkward.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So MM2's power bombs are also in a bad spot.
Oh, it's just too bad M2 didn't jump over any power bombs earlier.
Yeah.
And M2 can claim he was planning on checking Fireflies all along. I don't buy it. I think the 7 seconds would have saved this check here. Granted, if that had been Speed Booster, that would have been pretty big.
Yeah. And yeah, picking up a third is definitely faster than bombing out Key Hunter Stairs. This will be close. Osse might just end up crystal flashing. I mean, you can get through with this though, but it really depends on how risky you want to kind of take it at this point. But this should be fine.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
You want to get to the crate if you can here.
Mm-hmm. Big thing is falling falling in the acid here. So Varia protects from environmental damage, and the acid here counts as environmental as well. So you'd be taking damage as if you were completely suitless if you fall into the acid here, which is a lot. Like, if you fall into the acid in the pre-Ridley room, you lose a tank almost instantly.
Mm-hmm. Not a good,
I believe for reference. I believe for reference, if you're in the acid and trying to crystal flash in the acid, you're taking damage so fast that you have to lay your power bomb at around 312 to like 325 energy, which compared to when you're not in the acid and just taking regular heat damage, it's like 70 or so.
So then you have that crate fight faster than I thought.
Yeah, and space jump there.
It's a kind of an awkward health. I don't know where he's going to do the crystal flash. It's just a question of where. And he did need that power back now, so it was a good call on his part to go do a search for it.
Yeah.
I wonder if you just do it here.
I think so. I think it's much safer to just do it here.
Yeah. Don't mess around with the next room. You accidentally break spin. You take a big hit.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing to learn, I think, about doing this, because, like, if you're playing RBO, right, you are going to push it playing RBO, but you're also playing a run that you're comfortable with and and sure, maybe your equipment's the same or like it's a similar situation, but the context of it is so different in a randomizer that pushing it is the #1 way to just like completely screw up the lower Norfair, and saving that like energy tank by trying to crystal flash as late as possible is probably just not worth it.
So M2 skipping that space jump, I don't think that's going to cost him that much time. The bigger problem for M2 is that space jump helped Osse so much already in some of these rooms. You're trying not to take your damage. It's a lot easier when you've got both space jump and screw attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Osse's ammo is also just better. Like, MM2 has enough to finish the game, but not comfortably in the way Osse can finish the game. So it would not surprise me to see MM2 check some of the ammo checks leaving here.
Oh, that's true. I haven't done the math on MM2's side, but he might have to like...
85-45 is I think you're opening some doors. Let me just double check here real quick. Yeah, on 85-45, you have to open 2 doors to have a single missile leeway, and if you open all 3, you have a missile and a super.
And going out the front, he's not going to check these other miners.
Yeah, is this even faster than going out the back? I honestly don't know. Like, in your brain, yes it is, right? Because this goes to Upper Norfair, and Upper Norfair is where Turian is, right? But like, on this equipment, like, is it actually faster? You're having to go through Cathedral, which is pretty slow.
Yeah, too. Also not checking this ammo.
Needs to kill one more enemy. Nope, you're good. You're good.
It's possible that MM2 hasn't done, like, I mean, it's hard to do this math when you're running the race and thinking about, 10 other things going on.
Yeah, my guess is he's banking on Cathedral at this point, because he probably feels like the Varia location was, like, yes, he found it, but it's in a spot where it's not really going to help that much. compared to just skipping it with the way the seed's kind of laid out, and like doing that East Meridia immediately just works out so much better for you.
I was thinking Osse took a free refill, but he's still in that area. He's still taking damage. Why'd you do that? You get a free refill when you go down the elevator.
Yeah, and see, like I honestly think going out the back ended up faster. Like Osse was ahead at that point, but I think he was further ahead, or he wasn't as far ahead as he looks now.
I kind of agree. I mean, he does have space jump. Some of this is a little bit.
Yeah, space jump certainly helps, but not that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Given that mm2's ammo situation, he's not even just checking the from. So he either knows the situation.
This is weird, like,
or
because like
a
missile saves you so much. A missile saves you so much, right? Like one missile here changes everything so much. Like you probably can just get away much more comfortably without doing the second door with just this. Oh, I guess he's planning on grabbing this super here.
I wonder if he
went 85-50. Probably did, but
that would make sense because this does a lot.
And probably why you went out the front, because yeah, this is 3 supers and a missile of leeway if you don't refill at all. But even still, with that super, going out the back, I think it's so hard to judge time in this stuff though, because at first it just looks like the front is going to be faster because it goes to Upper Norfair, and Upper Norfair is where Turian is, but the path out the back is faster out the back, and then the portals in Upper Norfair aren't that close without the speed booster from Business Center.
Yeah, I think now that we know MM2 is going for that super pack at Business Double Mount, it makes a lot more sense because if going out the back is faster, it was like 10 seconds faster or less. Like it wasn't like that much faster,
Possibly, I don't know. The front it's 2 extra elevators already, which is already 20 to 30 seconds on the elevators alone, right?
You're getting that back by getting the surefire super is there.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I know if you asked him like what the difference was. And yeah, I think it wasn't that Osse's ammo route was better. There was just some things that MM2 did that ended up being a little slow. The early Bubble Mountain, and then I think there was also that routing back to East Meridia was pretty slow.
Yeah, it helped him get the Varia, but it kind of just didn't work out in that the East Meridia ended up being so far away that being able to get that Varia suit doesn't end up really saving you much time because of like the lack of efficiency of having to leave Red Tower to go back to Parade and then come back to Red Tower later. So Osse's final boss is, remember, he doesn't have the Varia suit.
Oh.
I don't think he's gonna miss so much ammo that he's gonna soft lock here.
That would be stunning. M2 is the one that, even with that extra super, has to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, and Osse makes it past the final boss.
Stand up for fun. It does save time, I think, if you manipulate.
So if you know what you're doing on the cutscene, you can manipulate Mother Brain's death animation to always give you like quote good cutscene, and you'll save like close to 3 seconds over just sitting there.
I don't like to go for stand up and in randomizers unless I have like close to full beam combo.
Yeah, I mean if I can't be dealing damage, I'm kind of just gonna chill. He has X-ray, so it's not the end of the world. X-ray actually helps a lot. If you get the slowdown, what you can do, I think it also works with grapple, but if you get like the major slowdown, if you hold the item cancel button, for some reason, since you have something to select, holding the item cancel button like changes Samus's pose or something. I don't remember the exact science behind it, but it stops that like ultra lag slowdown that you can get if you're doing stand up.
The ultra lag is something to do with like just like it's like something to do with your beam firing and like the game doing a whole ton of extra work. And if you just hold that item, cancel down, it cancels the beam, and then
Yeah, if you have something that you can select, I believe.
Yeah.
I think so, like a grapple or an X-ray or enough missiles that Rainbow Beam doesn't drain them all. Should probably also work, I would imagine.
I've seen some strange crashes with stand-up too, though, in the randomizers. I've only seen it when you do the setup for a stand-up, but then you decide, oh, I'll just let Mother Brain crouch lock me anyway. I do not recommend doing that.
Yeah.
You're not in the same standing position that you would normally be in. And I don't know. It might be better now though. They've gone back to using the vanilla Mother Brain fight, so that might be a thing of the past.
Yeah, absolutely. But at this stage in the tournament, you're also trying to get any time back that you can.
Yeah, I mean, if with Osse doing that mid-ep and then committing to the mid, not getting crouch locked, he's just potentially saving 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the story of this one was MM2 leaving that East Meridia to get the Kraid boss first. And that led him to the Varia suit because it was behind that Kraid boss. And it just ended up not being enough. The seed eventually gave Osse a power bomb that was fast enough to be able to still do the Varialist Lower Norfair really fast. To be able to cut down on that. The efficiency helped make up for the lack of Varia suit, basically.
Osse has to check almost 2/3 of the miners just to get 3 power bomb packs.
Yeah.
He made over 40 checks, I'm pretty sure. The odds just couldn't hold out forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And Osse is going to finish in first place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 11 seconds. GG's to him. He's going to take game 1 of this 3-game set. All 3 games are scheduled today. So game 2 will be happening next. And game 3, if necessary, after that. Looks like game 2 will be happening here in about 8 to 9 minutes.
So we'll probably watch MM2 finishes out here, and then after that, we'll have a short break.
Yep, absolutely. MM2 just finishing up the Mother Brain fight here. There's a possibility that, because I was a little surprised MM2 ended up checking the plasma location, and I think it's possible that he went out the back of Rex ship without necessarily realizing how terrible that red tower was. Because in your mind you think Red Tower has 6 portals, should be able to get there. It's the most portals of any area, right? So usually it's not hard to get back to. So he's probably like, I can leave this east, and then as he's going out the back into doing Kraid, he's realizing, oh, leaving that east is really terrible. So I kind of have to check this is kind of my out. Because if you just do East Meridia there right away, it's just so much more efficient. But of course, I'm not entirely sure that was the rationale there, but the Plasma Beam is a rather long check. You don't see it very often.
Yeah, it's such a long check that even though we found a great item, the best item you could find, it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, and that's really the hard part about playing this mode too, is you have to be able to recognize map situations very quickly, because sometimes the game just gives you a decision that you haven't thought about in advance because there's just so many permutations to go through. So there's a lot of having to think about the way things could go and thinking about how you plan to play if this happens. that sometimes you just don't have time for, and it can cause mistakes. So it gets really hard to recognize map situations like that East Meridia immediately. Missing that top portal really helped Osse in that sense, because it just made going out the front significantly better for him.
Oftentimes you do want to you think of a route, you just want to go with it, and we're sitting there talking about going out the front of Lower North Earth versus the back. It would be much better to pick one of those two routes and just go and lose 10 seconds or maybe 20 seconds than to sit there and think about it. But yeah, every now and then it's like you said with this Red Tower thing, that was probably more like a 2-minute decision, having to route all the way back to Kraid's Lair and then come all the way back to...
Yeah, usually Red Tower is just incredibly accessible with how many portals there are there. So it's not often it's in your mind that, this East Meridia is terrible to get back to. I kind of have to do it here.
And MM2 did finish up with an official race time of 1:08:48.
GG's to MM2. Thank you very much for having Idle and I on the commentary here. Game 2 will be joined by some new commentators, and that game will start in about 5 minutes here. So thanks very much for having us, Idle. Do you have any last thoughts?
Not really. I think it was a good race. Chat pointing out that speed was at wave. That could have been useful for both runners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thing that got skipped. The skips made sense. It just...
Yeah, I'm curious on the ammo check at wave though.
Oh, that's true. That would have been a power bomb.
I think that's... I mean, the speed obviously saves so much time, but that's a little bit more pertinent, I think. Is that ammo check at wave beam? If that's a power bomb, that saves so much. But
well, not too likely, because there were only 2 power bombs Osse didn't find.
Yeah, those... Oh, wow. A 5 power bomb seed. That's... So average is 33 missiles, 22 supers, 11 power bombs. So a 5 power bomb seed is pretty ridiculous.
You sometimes see that when the progression is like tilted to try to not to hide the power bombs or something, but there's none of that going on in these settings. So.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for having us, and I think we'll get off here and be prepared for game 2 coming up shortly.